The impossible desert river that will change Central Asia forever. What if I told you that right now, in one of the world's most unforgiving deserts, engineers are literally creating a river where none has flowed for centuries? Picture this, just 500 kilometers from the shrinking Aral Sea, a massive $12 billion project is taking shape that sounds like something out of science fiction. For over 50 years, Central Asia has been dying of thirst. Cotton fields have turned to dust, entire fishing communities have vanished, and millions of people have watched their homeland become a wasteland. But now, something incredible is happening. This isn't just another irrigation project or a simple dam. We're talking about the rebirth of an entire ecosystem. A man-made river system so ambitious that it could literally bring the desert back to life. Today, we're diving deep into the Turkmenistan Golden Age Water Project, the most audacious water engineering feat of the 21st century. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why this could completely reshape the future of Central Asia. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the channel and stay updated on these incredible mega projects. So how exactly do you create a river in a desert? And more importantly, can this actually work? Let's go back to understand how we got here, because this story is absolutely wild. Central Asia used to be the heart of the Silk Road, bustling with trade, agriculture, and civilization. The Amu Darya and Sir Darya rivers fed massive irrigation networks that supported millions of people. But then came one of the biggest environmental disasters in human history. In the 1960s, the Soviet Union decided to turn Central Asia into a cotton empire. They diverted these ancient rivers so aggressively that the Aral Sea, once the world's fourth largest lake, has shrunk by 90%. We're talking about an area the size of Ireland just disappearing. Fishing villages that were once on the coast are now stranded 100 kilometers from any water. But here's where it gets really interesting. Talks of creating artificial river systems in Turkmenistan actually date back to the 1950s. Soviet engineers had this crazy idea called the Siberian Rivers Reversal. They wanted to redirect massive Siberian rivers southward. The project was so expensive and environmentally risky that even the Soviets abandoned it. For decades, experts said it was impossible. The desert was too harsh, the distances too vast, the cost too high. Central Asian countries tried smaller projects. Kazakhstan built some canals, Uzbekistan attempted water recycling, but nothing on the scale needed to actually solve the crisis. That all changed in 2019 when Turkmenistan's president Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov announced something that made the entire engineering world take notice. They weren't just going to build canals, they were going to create an entirely new river ecosystem using groundwater, desalinated Caspian seawater, and revolutionary water recycling technology. The project got official approval in 2021, with construction beginning in early 2022. The timeline? Complete the first phase by 2028, with the full system operational by 2035. Alright, let's talk about what they're actually building here, because the scale is just mind-blowing. The Turkmenistan Golden Age Water Project isn't just one canal, it's an integrated network of artificial rivers, underground aqueducts, and smart water management systems stretching across 750 kilometers of desert. We're talking about moving 5 billion cubic meters of water annually. That's equivalent to creating a river the size of the Colorado River in one of the world's harshest deserts. The main artery is called the Golden River. And yes, they literally named it that because of the golden economic opportunities it's supposed to create. This artificial river will be 450 kilometers long, 50 meters wide, and 8 meters deep. To put that in perspective, it's longer than the Thames and wider than many natural rivers in Europe. But here's what makes this truly revolutionary. It's not just moving water from point A to point B. The system includes the world's most advanced desert water recycling technology. Every drop of water used in agriculture gets collected, filtered through these incredible biosand systems, and reintroduced into the network. They're claiming 95% water efficiency compared to traditional irrigation, which wastes about 60% 90% of water. The engineering is absolutely insane. They're building 15 major pumping stations powered entirely by solar and wind energy. Each station can move 50 million liters per hour. That's like filling an Olympic swimming pool every 30 seconds. And get this, the whole system is controlled by AI. Sensors throughout the network monitor everything from water quality to soil moisture to weather patterns. The AI automatically adjusts water flow to different regions based on crop needs, weather forecasts, and seasonal demands. The project includes three main components: the northern desert line feeding the cotton regions, the central agricultural corridor supporting food crops, and the southern coastal connection linking to new Caspian Sea desalination plants. They're even building what they call green cities along the river route, entirely new settlements designed around sustainable water use, with vertical farms, water recycling systems, and solar power grids. The capacity numbers are staggering. Once complete, this system will irrigate 1.5 million hectares of new agricultural land and provide drinking water for 3 million people. That's like creating agricultural capacity equivalent to half of Belgium in the middle of a desert. Now let's talk money, because this is where things get really interesting. The total price tag, $12 billion over 13 years. To put that in context, that's more expensive than the Panama Canal expansion and about the same as Turkey's new Istanbul airport. Here's how the funding breaks down. Turkmenistan is putting up $4 billion from their natural gas revenues. And yes, they have a lot of gas money. China's Belt and Road Initiative is contributing $5 billion through infrastructure loans. The World Bank and Asian Development Bank are providing $2 billion in development financing. And the remaining $1 billion is coming from private investors, mainly energy companies interested in the renewable power components. But here's the crazy part. They estimate this will generate $30 billion in additional economic activity over the first decade alone. New agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, and export industries are expected to create over 200,000 jobs. The economic multiplier effect is huge. They're building new roads, railways, power grids, and telecommunications infrastructure to support the water project. Total related investments could reach $20 billion. Compare this to other mega water projects. California's high-speed rail is costing $100 billion. Israel's desalination program cost $2 billion for much smaller capacity. For the scale and potential impact, this might actually be the most cost-effective water infrastructure project in modern history. So where exactly are they at with all this? Well, the progress has been pretty remarkable. Construction officially started in March 2022 with massive earth-moving operations in the Karakum Desert. As of late 2024, they've completed about 35% of the main canal system. The first 150 kilometers of the Golden River are already dug and lined with these special concrete channels designed to minimize evaporation. The engineering achievements so far have been pretty incredible. They've solved the problem of building in shifting sand dunes using a new technique called desert foundation anchoring, essentially creating artificial bedrock using compressed sand and polymer binding. 3 of the major pumping stations are already operational and being tested. The solar farms powering these stations cover 50 square kilometers. You can literally see them from space. The project involves some serious international coordination. Chinese construction companies are handling the heavy excavation, Turkish firms are building the pumping infrastructure, and German engineers are installing the water treatment systems. Getting all these teams to work together in the middle of a desert, dealing with temperatures that can hit 50 degrees Celsius in summer, has been a logistics nightmare, but they've hit some major milestones. In August 2024, they successfully completed the first water flow test, moving desalinated Caspian Sea water 200 kilometers inland. The AI control systems have been operational since January 2024, and early results show the water efficiency targets are actually being exceeded. Quality control is massive. Every section of canal gets tested for leakage, structural integrity, and environmental impact before water flows through it. They're using satellite monitoring to track construction progress and environmental changes in real time. The most impressive part? They're actually ahead of schedule on several components. The renewable energy systems are performing better than expected, and the water recycling plants are exceeding efficiency targets. Now, let's be honest, not everything is perfect with this project, and there are some legitimate concerns we need to talk about. The biggest technical challenge, desert sand. Building permanent water infrastructure in shifting sand dunes is incredibly difficult. They've had to completely redesign sections multiple times as sand movement changed the landscape. Some critics argue the environmental conditions are too harsh for this to work long-term. Environmental groups have raised serious questions about the ecological impact. Creating artificial rivers in desert ecosystems could disrupt migration patterns, change local weather patterns, and affect groundwater systems in unpredictable ways. The Caspian Sea desalination component is particularly controversial, taking that much water could affect the sea's ecosystem. Financially, there are concerns about debt sustainability. Turkmenistan's economy is heavily dependent on natural gas exports, and commodity price fluctuations could affect their ability to repay the massive loans funding this project. Political critics argue this is more about the former president's legacy than practical water management. Some of the green cities planned along the route seem overly ambitious, and there are questions about whether there's actually enough demand for all the agricultural capacity being created. Water rights are another issue. Neighboring countries worry that this massive water extraction could affect their own water security. Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan have expressed concerns about potential impacts on shared groundwater resources. There's also the complexity factor. The system is so technologically sophisticated that maintaining it could be incredibly expensive. If the AI systems fail, the solar panels degrade, or the pumping stations break down, the entire network could collapse. But here's what's interesting. The project team has been pretty transparent about these challenges and has built in significant redundancy and backup systems. They've also been working with international environmental groups to monitor and mitigate ecological impacts. Despite the challenges, the potential benefits of this project are absolutely massive. Economically, we're talking about transforming one of the world's least productive regions into a major agricultural hub. The new irrigated land could produce enough food to feed 10 million people, with surplus for export to growing markets in Asia and the Middle East. Job creation is huge, not just construction jobs, but permanent positions in agriculture, manufacturing, logistics, and technology. They're projecting 200,000 direct jobs and 500,000 indirect jobs by 2035. From a social perspective, this could completely change quality of life for millions of people. Rural communities that have been struggling with water scarcity for decades will have reliable access to clean water for the first time in generations. The technological advancement aspect is really exciting too. The innovations in desert water management, renewable energy integration, and AI-controlled infrastructure are pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Other countries with similar challenges are watching closely. This could become a model for desert development worldwide. Regionally, this could shift the entire geopolitical balance of Central Asia. A water-secure, economically thriving Turkmenistan could become a major regional power and a crucial link between European, Asian, and Middle Eastern markets. The environmental benefits, if it works as planned, could be incredible. Reforestation along the river corridors, restoration of wetland habitats, and creation of green corridors through the desert could help reverse some of the ecological damage from the Aral Sea disaster. From a global perspective, this project represents proof that large-scale environmental restoration is possible with the right technology and investment. In an era of climate change and water scarcity, success here could inspire similar projects worldwide. The diplomatic implications are interesting too. Successful completion would demonstrate Turkmenistan's ability to manage massive infrastructure projects and could attract significant international investment in other sectors. So what's next for this incredible project? Phase 1 completion is targeted for 2028, which will bring water to the northern agricultural regions. Phase 2, including the full AI control system and green cities, should be done by 2032. The complete system, with all expansion phases, is planned for 2035, but the vision extends far beyond that. If successful, Phase 3 could include connections to Afghanistan's water system and potentially even links to Iran's water infrastructure. We're talking about eventually creating a regional water network that could serve 50 million people across multiple countries. The global implications are huge. Success here could lead to similar projects in the Sahara, the Australian outback, and other major desert regions. China, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt are all reportedly studying this project for their own water security initiatives. Looking at the bigger picture, this represents a fundamental shift in how we think about habitability and development. Instead of accepting that deserts are just empty wastelands, we're looking at actively transforming them into productive landscapes. Will it work? Honestly, the engineering is sound, the financing is solid, and the early results are promising. The biggest unknowns are long-term environmental impacts and whether the economic benefits will justify the massive investment. But here's what I think. Even if this project only achieves half of its goals, it will still represent one of the most successful water infrastructure projects in history. And if it fully succeeds, we could be looking at a completely transformed Central Asia within the next decade. What are your thoughts on this ambitious project? Do you think creating artificial rivers in deserts is the future of water security? Or are we playing with forces we don't fully understand? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll explore another incredible mega project that's reshaping our world.